Hello, Tangerine. I've
Royal
hit the start
Singdom.
record button this time. You remember we recorded an entire video of like Halo with Andy and I didn't hit the start record button?
Yeah,
That was such a good prank by
we
me.
did a speed run of it. Yeah,
I think
I
that's
remember.
like maybe the third. Didn't we have to record it like three times?
Yes.
Because the recording corrupted and stopped recording like halfway through as well.
Yeah, we
And
we
then if
we
you if you watch our
caught up.
Halo
Really caught up
video
with
with
this.
Andy, you can just see me like trying to speed run the video because of
Yeah.
how tired I am
Well,
saying the same thing over and
wasn't it
over
Reach
again.
and Combat Evolved, right? In
Yeah,
one
I think it was
video.
because we did the lasso
'Cause-
for
yeah.
Reach and we played Kayla Combat Evolved.
Oh, it's B-Man.
Yeah, so
B moving.
Tangerine, this is Ukulele and the Impossible Lair. This is the sequel to what was it? Just you. I think it was just called Ukulele, right? If you don't know, Playtonic, the developers of this game, are the original Rareware guys. I believe that they're an English company, right?
I
And
think
they
so.
made a lot of really early platformer games. They made Donkey Kong Country, Banjo Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, tons of stuff like that, right? And their original game, Banjo Kazooie, was kickstarted, and it was the original game Ukulele was kickstarted, and it was a spiritual successor to Banjo Kazooie, which
I
is a
think
collectathon.
it's the other way around that you said before. Banjo-Kazooie is a spiritual successor to ukulele.
No, that's not true. But what they did was instead of doing another Banjo Kazooie game, what they did this time is they did a spiritual successor to Donkey Kong Country, which, if you don't know, is
Yeah.
a 2.5D side scroller game. And I think this one had like way better reviews than the ukulele, like the Banjo Kazooie game, had some very mixed reviews, whereas this was liked a lot more. I found from what the content I saw on it.
Yeah.
I have not played the original ukulele yet. I
You
do
own it,
own
right?
it. Yeah, I own it.
Yeah.
But I decided I was going to play this game first because it looked more interesting out of the two to me. Even though I think I generally am a little bit more of a fan of collectathons
Yeah, but
than
I heard Ukulele
2.5D.
was a
But
really bad collectathon, and this was actually a good 2.5D
well,
game. So
I'm enjoying playing this game so far. So my idea was that if I finish it and I enjoyed the ukulele kind of universe, I'll go back and I'll play the original ukulele just to see what it's
yeah,
like, sort of thing.
yeah,
But the really interesting about this game, Tony, is this is the basically the tutorial level. But what you'll learn about ukulele and the impossible lair is you you start at the last level of the game. So the last level of the game is the impossible lair.
right,
And
okay.
what happens is you can try and beat the impossible lair from the beginning of the game if you want to, and it's completely possible. But what you do is every time you go into a level that's not the finale, you get a B. As you can see here, I have a B shield. And every B you collect gives you
Okay.
an extra hit in the final level on the impossible lair. So you see here, I'm getting hit by a bunch of
Oh, these
stuff.
are actually impossible puzzles. I get it.
So
Okay,
the
that's kind of cool.
so the bees let you take an extra hit, but there isn't like
Yeah.
I went because you can go to the impossible lair and you can go in there and you can say I don't want any help. Like you can even if you've collected the bee shield, you can turn it off. It's 100% possible to
Okay.
beat the impossible lair without any without finishing any of the other levels, which I found really cool. I thought that was a cool idea, but it's just
Yeah.
really hard,
That's
sort
a
of
cool
thing.
idea.
So like I think I will probably collect all the B shield and then go and do it because I want to play the other levels, right? Because they're pretty fun from what I've played. Um, but I do think it would be interesting to try the impossible lair without, with that one hit is death sort of thing. I think.
Yeah, lasso, you could say.
So this came out in 2019. This is still quite a recent game,
Yeah.
actually. And the reason I have this is because they gave it away for free on Epic. I was like, this is a huge game they're giving away because I know the
Oh
original
yeah.
one had a huge fan base. So people were really hyped for this game. It looked really good. So I found it like crazy that Epic could give away such cool free games. every week. I mean, every Thursday they're still giving away games. I feel like I've played more Epic games than the average person. Like, I'm more willing to give like a game I get for free on Epic a chance. Like, I played the entirety of Hello Neighbor, for God's sake. So
yeah, why do you do that?
I was streaming it to a friend, and he was like, if I wasn't streaming Hello Neighbor to a friend, I would have quit the game. Like, I would have said fuck this game, but I felt like I had to finish it because my friend was watching and he wanted to see the ending.
Interesting. Yeah.
Here's me fucking about with the options. So this is like a mini boss fight at the start of the game. I assume you'll have another, but this is just like, hey, these are some of the mechanics you'll have to fight against the bee guy when you get through the impossible lair. So everything at the beginning of the game is just teaching you everything you need to know about the game, right? The process. So this is the impossible lair, right here. So I actually attempted it with 0 bees just to see what it was like. So here he is, and bam. So the one thing about this game is when you get hit, you lose your bat companion. I can't remember which is which, if it's Yooka or Laylee. I don't actually remember their names. Here's me dying. I was like, damn, that's hard. But if you lose, so in the original Donkey Kong, of course you had I don't know if you know this, but you had DK and Diddy, and basically when you had Diddy on your back, you could do extra jumps and like the spin, like you could fly further because he was like a jet copter sort of thing. He had like a jetpack,
like,
right?
If in Ratchet and Clank you got hit once, you lose
exactly
Clank,
like
sort of thing.
If in Ratchet and Clank you could lose Clank for like getting hit instead of losing him for like entire levels and stuff.
That's kind of cool, actually.
And then, but the catch with Yooka-Laylee, instead of having to go around and get DK barrels to get him back, there is bells you can ring to get him back if you lose him. Okay. But if you get hit for a couple of seconds, Yooka will fly around and you can pick him up again. So you can regain that hit you took, which is kind of an interesting mechanic. And there's also these things called tonics as well, that you can unlock by going through the overworld. The overworld is really fun as well. It's like a giant sort of puzzle sort of thing where you can move stuff around by completing levels and stuff that lets you go to. It's a really interesting way to have progression between levels rather than just have a menu. I always prefer like an interacting overworld sort of thing.
I think it depends. It depends what you're doing with it. I think you make it interesting. It works. Sometimes you just want a menu though. But I do prefer, when it's done well. A good overworld is good.
So I'm kind of testing the mechanics here. Going into first level to try and rescue the first bee. So these green things are like the checkpoints. Immediately I'm like, I gotta find secrets. I think on Donkey Kong you would spell out donkey. Was like the collectibles you would find, but on this one you just have numbered coins. That's the collectible on this one. And then the coins are important because in the overworld there's a trouser snake that rare in their puns. There's a trouser snake who puts up what he calls pay walls, which is an actual wall you have to pay to get through. So you have to you might have to actually collect coins in these levels in order to progress through to the next part of the overworld sort of thing, which is kind of funny. And then these feathers you collect, you spend on the tonics I was mentioning. So one of the cool tonics I got was it meant that Yooka or Laylee, it meant the bat. He stays around longer when he gets knocked off you, and he panics less, so he doesn't fly as far away. But when you use a tonic when you use a tonic like that, it changes your quill multiplier. So there is a risk reward with using that. It's not just like a straight upgrade. So I got minus 0.1 quills per level. So whatever quill counter I got at the end, I would lose. It would only be a 0.9 multiplier of that total. Okay. So if you're like farming levels for quills to like buy a new tonic, you might want to turn your current tonics off so you can get more. So it's kind of interesting how they did that. There are cosmetic tonics that don't give you any negative multiplayers. There is, of course, the classic big head mode. I had it for the chameleon. You can get it for the bat as well. If you do you remember the big head mode in Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah.
I remember
from Jak and Daxter as well more. I think I used it more there, but yeah, they were great.
I remember I always used the big head mode and the lightsaber cheat, where you could change your wrench in Ratchet and Clank to a lightsaber.
Yeah,
that was great.
I feel like I kind of missed out. So I only ever did like at the end of the games. I already played the game. It's like not as much to do.
Well, I remember for example, I'm always looking for ways to replay my favorite games, and I think it was Ratchet and Clank 2. You can go into first person mode, and I think I played the entire game in first person just as like my own personal challenge sort of thing. Yeah. One thing I think like Rare knows platformers. The platforming in this is great. The only thing I found kind of annoying was the roll move means that it's very hard for when you have to do you have to like roll and then kind of stop yourself, but you carry a momentum when you're rolling. But I guess that's maybe intentional because rolling kind of makes you invulnerable to a few enemies because it rolls your main attack. Right. Although there are some enemies that are like spikes, so you can't just roll into them. You can jump on like enemies' heads, Mario style, but it's usually better to just roll around. I found because I'm somebody who when I play like Mario, I'm holding down the B button. I'm always sprinting. Like I'm not the sort of person who like walks and then runs when it's appropriate. So for me, I'm always wanting to roll, but then there comes points where I need to like do precise jumps, and then the rolling momentum that carries over when I stop kind of fucks me over. But that's something that you'll either like and get used to, or you just won't like it, sort of thing. I think how that's gonna work. But yeah, everything I've played this so far, I'd say I probably played about 3 or 4 levels of this so far. And I went back and collected all the coins for those levels because I like going back and doing like the collectible stuff.
There's no wall jumping then in this game.
Not that I could figure out. No.
Right.
The thing is, I don't know if later you get like I assume they wouldn't have game mechanics behind tonics, but there might be a way to buy new abilities. The thing is, I don't know everything about the game yet. This is kind of my WTF is video where I'm just giving my first impressions, sort of thing. Because I said because you said like you wanted to see what I thought of like the Outer Wilds after I finished the game.
Oh yeah.
And I actually finished that game. And one thing I will say, because I don't want to spoil it, obviously.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say is that I actually found I had more fun exploring than I did finishing the game. Like actually going through and finishing the game. So that I don't know what that says, but I think actually the exploration in that game is more fun than the actual mechanic of trying to end the game. So that's pretty cool.
Right, okay.
But yeah, I think that's mostly what I got to say. I think I got a little bit more gameplay and different. This level had swords in it, so the difficulty does get a bit harder, sort of thing. There are like new enemies and stuff.
I will say is that I think the game, to me anyway, looks better than the actual Yooka game that came out.
Yeah, I think like obviously one complaint, not great graphics options, is like you can have low, medium, and high, and then there's like VSync on and off, and that's all you get. I couldn't find a way to turn like motion blur off or anything, or mess with anti-aliasing. I'd like more options, but obviously it's not there. So I had VSync on just so I could like make sure it was giving me the highest FPS, so that I could make sure I got above 60, sort of thing.
Yeah, it wasn't one of the half V-syncs, was it?
No, I don't think so. But I always appreciate games with like more options menu, but I mean, it's similar to the way it worked in Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. I feel like I can see a few parallels between this and Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, but I found this is a bit less dated because it was made in 2019, sort of thing. Even though it is going with those kind of retro platformers, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's done differently still.
I would actually recommend playing this game. I've had a lot of fun. It's really well polished, great visuals, and really fun to play. So yeah, if I do end up completing this and really enjoying it, I might play the 3D Collectathon as well. So let's move on to our next game, which is quite different from this game because Tony, I've also been playing. Oh, hang on a second.
Ukulele.
I've also been playing ukulele. Give me 1 second. And then I'll pull up the other one. And then I'll have to switch for you.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I'm going to have to restream so you can see it. Guys, don't spoil it in the comments for Tony. He can't see my screen right now.
Yeah, I'm still playing.
I'm going live, Tony. The other game is Alien Isolation.
Oh, right, yeah.
So this felt obvious to put this with ukulele. They're pretty similar games. Basically, one of my friends, Vietnam Dave, he's been trying to get me to play this forever because he's always saying, "Oh, I really want to watch you play horror games," because he saw our play, like we did the Bendy episode for Halloween a couple years ago. He loved that. Recently, we did the other horror game that I thought was like a boring puzzle game. What was that game called? It was like the LSD man was sending me friendly notes.
Yeah, I don't. It's such a forgettable name, right?
So I'll say something. So in this game, you play as Ripley's daughter. If you know, Ripley is the main character of the original Alien films. I've never really watched an Alien film, so I'm going in like. So I saw like the chestburster scene as a kid, and it scared the fuck out of me. So I never actually watched any of the Alien films.
That part's good.
My experience of Alien films comes from me watching the Alien versus Predator films as a kid. I loved Alien versus Predator because those films are just straight up action films.
I've seen Alien and Aliens and not seen anything else. So.
Really, I've seen Alien versus Predator, and if you haven't, if you watch Alien, I don't know about Predator if that's more of a. I think Predator is more of an action film, but I would say Alien vs. Predator is more like a Predator film than it is like an Alien film. I think it's way more of an action film. It's just like, we're going to show Predators kicking the shit out of Xenomorphs and Xenomorphs kicking the shit out of Predators. Sort of thing.
I've seen the new Predator. Okay. I have to be careful here. There's actually
a new Predator film as well.
I watched the middling Predator when it was the new Predator. Does that make sense?
Sure.
It's like 6 years ago, Predator. I watched that Predator. Like it seems to me more like a Saw film in a way, because like in a way everyone was kind of bad and like they kind of deserve what they got, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And there's kind of like the Predator was like an unstoppable force you had to try and stop, sort of thing. But it was still like an action-y still. But
so when I went into this game,
action thriller.
My assumption with this game was you were going to go onto like a small ship, and the whole game was going to be you on a small ship and you're just trying to hide from this alien, right? But it's actually much more than that. Basically, you go to so you are Ripley's daughter.
Yeah.
And basically, you've gone on this mission because you know this is the area where Ripley went missing. So you're trying to find what happened to your mother, right?
Yeah.
And basically, there's this kind of colony ship here.
Okay.
There's this colony ship here, and basically everything's gone to shit because there's a xenomorph Xenomorph is on the ship slowly killing people, and basically all the humans have gone to like rapture status where they just shoot everyone on sight pretty much. Because it's like survival of the fittest, and everyone's just vying for resources. So like in a lot of ways, this game is very much like BioShock. It's very much more like that kind of. I thought it was going to be just like a straight up you're on a ship with the alien, but it's more like the fall of society in isolation, and I guess Alien Isolation is the name of the game as well. Yeah. But there's
Left to Rot.
you come on with a crew, on like a spacewalk, but you get separated from your crew, and they go off to a different part of the ship. So you're on your own, and then you meet this bold guy, and he's about to shoot you, and you're like, "Hey, what the fuck's going on?" Like you kind of learn the backstory. A lot of the backstory to this game is through terminals, so you'll like read computers.
Oh, like the tape recordings and things as well, right?
Yeah, they have audio logs on them as well. I think this saving system's really cool as well. You have to punch into this card, but it's like really slow on purpose, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you have to, so you can like look around as you're putting this card in to get like the save in to make sure the alien's not around you. But this bold guy kind of teaches you how like a few of the mechanics work. In a lot of ways, Alien Isolation is more of a stealth game.
Yeah.
Than other horror games, I would say. Like, not being seen is usually the best course of plan when you have people with guns and you have a xenomorph after you, or you'll see like a glimpse of the xenomorph, but it's never like you're fighting it 1v1. I don't think I have it in the recording, but I did see it in a room just walking around, and I was like, fuck that, I'm gonna sneak around it.
There are three types of horror games, right? There's the puzzle horror games, the psychological horror games with story attached to it, and then the stealth horror games. And this is definitely a stealth horror. I would have put it in a stealth horror.
Because you do get, I think in this recording I get a revolver, so you can you can use the gun, but I have very limited ammo. I've got like 6 shots, so I'm never trying to shoot it because I know.
Yeah, I think you can shoot it, but you can never kill it. Like only like buys you time.
Yeah. It would scare it off, sort of thing. Yeah. Or I might need to kill. I have in my playthrough, I've killed 2 humans.
Oh, okay.
Because I was seeing if you could stealth kill. Which I don't think you can't really stealth kill. It doesn't kind of have like Dishonored mechanics, sort of thing, where you can stealth kill people. It's more so like a last resort where you hit someone over the head with a hammer. Like you're kind of a good character. So a lot of the time here, like these guys are walking around with guns. You just want to kind of sneak through vents and go around them. Is more so what you want to do. There's also so it's not just aliens. There's also humans, but there's also androids as well that have kind of gone rogue. Yeah, their base function is never to harm humans, but they're kind of ignoring that. So if you enter
that's a classic alien thing.
So if you're entering a restricted area, there are these androids called, I can't remember, they're called like Bob or something, I want to say.
It's not Bob, it's something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but they're basically like, that's when the stealth game turns to shit, gets real shit.
I thought
because then you're not just sneaking past humans and a xenomorph. You now have to worry about androids who can just snap your fucking neck if they wanted to.
Yeah, and they kind of.
The thing is, they're kind of friendly because you can talk to them, but if you do something that their programming deems is illegal, they will just like straight up kill you. Like I tried to kill an android, and they're like really tough to kill. Like I think one like grabbed me as like a jump scare sort of thing when it was like half dead on the ground, and then I killed it and I got the achievement for killing an android. There's lots of scavenging in this game. Like you want to pick up everything because you can make lots of items. This is what I was saying. Like it's more like a Dishonored game, so you can make med kits. That's very important because you will take damage if you get shot at, which I found out. You can make like smoke bombs, which I asked my friend Dave, who I was streaming this to, and he said they're not very useful against the alien, but I think they're more useful against humans. Humans are more susceptible to the smoke bomb. And then there's other stuff you can craft. Like I think you can craft flares. Flares are really good for distractions. If you need to get past a group of humans, you can like throw a flare. That's a pretty good idea. But there's tons of stuff. Like this game gives you lots of choices. Where I'm saying it's closer to a. It could even be. It's not like enough choice to be considered this, but I'd say it's closer to an immersive sim than most horror games are. So I think it's closer to a Bioshocky, Dishonored kind of game, but it's not really an RPG from what I've seen so far.
Quite, but yeah.
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from. I think I agree with that.
Which is what I really
The
like about the game, because I'm
maps are quite good, right? Like they're kind of open.
yeah, you can kind of you have like it's kind of like BioShock where
Yeah,
you have an objective. It's like go over here, but then the map's pretty open in the way you go about it. So you can you can backtrack on yourself. You can kind of go and scavenge in wherever you want, sort of thing. And there's also like procedural. I think there's like random spawn sort of thing. So if you go somewhere you've been before, sometimes there'll be like a group of guy with guns there, sort of thing.
yeah.
Whereas, so I'm not
It's
100%
never
on the
empty.
Alien. I think the Alien is a mix of scripted events where it's like what's his name, Nemesis in Resident Evil
Yeah,
3,
I
where
think it's a
there
lot
will be
like
moments
Nemesis
where if
actually.
you go here, the alien will appear because he's coded to, right? But
Yeah,
then I think
yeah,
there's also a good mixture of, oh shit, I've made a bunch of noise and I heard noises. It says if you hear noises above and you below you, hide, because that's a sign that something's
yeah.
coming. So there is
From what I
there is
understand,
there is an element of no matter where you are, the alien can come.
yeah. From what I understand though, like it's just always following you basically, and it tries to be realistic in the sense that it's not going to be complete bullshit if you never make a sound, but like it still is
Hmm.
kind of following you. I don't think that's scripted though. I think it's just a part of its AI. Obviously, there are
Yeah.
scripted parts, but
Gotta go meet the others. Something's going down.
there's
But
something
yeah.
terrifying about an enemy that always follows you though, and you can't kill.
Yeah, I don't know if you can kill. You probably might be able to kill it at some point in the game. I was looking in the options menu. It says like you get like a flamethrower at one point. I think you get a
Yeah,
shotgun at one point. So you definitely this isn't like a
but
hot.
it can run away though.
This isn't like a horror game where oh you have like a flashlight and if you ever see a monster it's pure stealth. You do
Yeah,
have the option to fight back, which is why I'm saying it's maybe closer to like a Bioshocky kind of game. But it's more
yeah,
so you're. I think I haven't played this game apart from the demo, but from what I've seen, it seems like Resident Evil 7, where you have the option to fight back, but it's not
not
worth
really worth it.
fighting back a lot of the time because of how powerful the enemy is, sort of thing. I don't know if that's an apt comparison, but we'll have to see. Yeah, so far I've found humans are like way more of a pain than the actual alien.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting.
Well, that's always been the case in Alien, I
Hmm.
think. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
humans
the alien
turning
is
on each
scary,
other.
but the humans are fucking around.
There's another interesting thing I found was the flashlight. I was constantly never wanting to use the flashlight because you have like limited batteries
Yeah.
for the flashlight, so I'm making sure to save my flashlight battery,
Wait,
sort of thing.
which is normally a dumb thing in games, but in this game, that you can still see with the flashlight off, it's amazing.
There are some parts where you definitely do need the flashlight for.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, was that Halo Andy I heard?
Yeah, I think I'm up towards them on Discord. I'll mute it because I don't think we need the sound 100% on this one.
No.
Oh, I think this is the moment where Bold Man says goodbye. Yeah, here we go.
Oh
Goodbye,
my
Bold
god!
Man. He gets dragged.
He got
So
saved from
this is the
Evil.
Rapture thing again.
What the hell?
You see these circular vents all over Rapture, and it's what the little sisters come out of. Like there's so
Oh
many
yeah.
like visual comparisons. Like this game came out in 2014, but it feels like
Yeah,
a game that could come out this year, and I'd be like,
oh yeah.
it could be the same. Like I feel like this game was like
Um,
it's so like of its time, but also ahead of its time in a lot of ways.
I will,
Like
I will say from the level design, I think it is pulling a lot from the film.
hmm,
So maybe Bioshock copied Alien.
don't
I had
know.
to rewatch Alien. I can't remember now.
Well, it's such an iconic film, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you
Like
can't
it's a
make
good
you can't
sci-fi,
make
good
a
horror, good
sci-fi
action.
anything without
Yeah,
referencing Alien at some point.
yeah. It's such. It has like so many firsts. Like it's like the first like that sort of alien look as well. Like,
Hmm.
is it Geiger? What's his name? Like something Geiger sort of look. I
Sorry,
can't remember his name. The guy who created the alien look
I
or the
don't know.
xenomorph
I
look, I
haven't seen the
guess.
movies, so I don't know anything about the movies really. Are you looking it up?
Yeah,
I know, wasn't it? Isn't it? Is it
Yeah.
James Cameron who directs the Alien films? That much I know. I think.
Yeah, I believe so. What do I say? How is that?
Because he's like obsessed with like water and space and stuff. Like, didn't he do that film where he just went into a submarine and just recorded like the deepest ocean we've ever been to, and it was terrifying. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
always
yeah,
find
yeah.
like space and especially the deep water is like in space, no one can hear you scream. Like that sort of thing. Like you feel like you're always alone, but never alone.
Yeah, I found it. I was reading this completely wrong, so I couldn't see the information. But yeah, the alien design is credited to a Swiss surrealist called H.R. Geiger.
Oh, okay.
And it's like,
did he invent the radioactive thing, the Geiger counter?
yeah, same guy.
Same guy.
But I was gonna say, like, after he like created the alien look, like loads of other like loads of other media like copied this alien look, like the xenomorph looking like exoskeleton sort of black look. Like he invented that basically.
Okay,
like, it's really interesting.
So I think in this kind of, from everything I've experienced, I've played like a few hours into the game, I would say.
Okay.
From the experience, there is no RPG mechanics, but I kind of like that because it adds more to this sense of I'm just a human being trying to escape the ship against an alien and basically human herd mentality where this person has something, I have to kill them, everyone is my enemy, sort of thing. This is Among Us. It's the Among Us syndrome, Tony. There's an imposter upon the ship, and I have to kill them or they'll kill me.
For me, I quite like your Resident Evil 7 sort of like a comparison, because like Resident Evil is very like you're like looking for ammo, looking for resources all the time.
Yeah.
This kind of has that and more to it, which I think is why this is so successful.
Yeah, I have found some stuff on this game like pretty terrifying.
Okay.
But it's not like I can't play this. This is too scary. I feel like maybe I'm like more acclimated. Oh, there's also everything's like VHS quality as well. Like all the screens and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's very much like of its time, like towards like the Alien films. I was like, it's 15 years later or something like that, or it's like maybe it's like I don't know. It's like a long time after. It's maybe like 15 to 30 years later, right? So I was like, oh, maybe they've evolved from VHS to DVD quality. But you never know in space. Because it's hard to get like a DVD player out to space.
It's Red Dwarf logic, Joe. They have to go back to VHSs because it's superior.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Get the Betamax out.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think I said most of what I want to say about this game. It's really fun. It's like very tense, very scary. So even if you're someone,
like, it is 2014. This came out, and it does look really good.
It's insane, right? I was playing this, and I'm like, this game is like great today. Like it's crazy. This came out 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And I never played it yet, but yeah. So I would say if you're somebody who likes horror games, definitely play this one, because I think anyone who likes that kind of genre will be heavily rewarded by the fact that there's so much great gameplay and it's not just a shitty puzzle game.
Yeah.
And then if you're somebody who's kind of not really into like horror games, I would say there's definitely stuff for you. If you're like, it's spooky. It had like if you're somebody who's okay with like the creepy atmosphere of BioShock, definitely play this one, because it has kind of that similar vibe where I really love the creepy atmosphere of Rapture, and it has like, but it still has the fun, meaty gameplay of like a BioShock kind of game. Not as meaty as BioShock, but still has definitely a lot of fun gameplay mechanics. But yeah,
the atmosphere is very immersive and authentic.
The atmosphere makes you feel like you're isolated.
Well, I was saying, it also makes you feel like you're playing the movie. I would say like it has that really authentic feel to it.
But yeah, that's Tangerine. Check out Alien Isolation and Yooka Impossible Lair. 2 games I've really enjoyed playing. So yeah, check those out. Bye.
Bye.